iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Everyone, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. This is a Cincinnati Bengals team podcast preview. Well, team preview that I do by podcast. I don't know. I've got one in print. I've got one on podcast. You're covered with the Bengals. No doubt you are covered. So let's get it started with Big Red himself. That's right, Andy Dalton. And I am more interested in Andy Dalton this year than I have been maybe ever in fantasy football. I think he's matured nicely as a quarterback. He's definitely the team leader. He's definitely in charge of what's going on there. He knows that offense cold. He is the man. Do I worry that he had 18 touchdowns last year? Well, of course I do, but A.J. Green was out from week 10 on. And when you lose A.J. Green, it's a problem. And how about the fact that our friend Tyler Eifert was out for an extended period of time? So this guy's only playing, I don't know, he missed the first 6 weeks of the year. So Eifert misses the first 6 weeks, Green misses the last 6 weeks. Do you blame Andy Dalton for only throwing for 18 touchdowns? I don't. I think if you have both these guys there, this guy's throwing for 25 touchdowns. So I'm all in on Andy Dalton as a surprise this year in terms of being one of the better quarterbacks. Now look, there's many ways to win a fantasy football league. One way is to draft your quarterback early. This is certainly not what I do. I will draft my quarterback early begrudgingly. I was in a league last year in Las Vegas. I drafted Aaron Rodgers in the 9th round. I'm like, the 9th round, I got to take the guy. I got to take him in the 9th round, right? Andy Dalton is not going to cost me anything more than like a 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th round pick. If I'm willing to play a game of chicken and just acquire running backs, receivers, tight ends, and just build it up, and wait, I might be able to sneak Andy Dalton as one of my two quarterbacks probably in like round 13 or 14 or maybe even 15. If I can come home with two quarterbacks, such as Andy Dalton, Matthew Stafford, Andy Dalton, Ryan Tannehill, Andy Dalton, Carson Wentz, Andy Dalton, Phillip Rivers, Andy Dalton, Eli Manning, I'll be okay. Well, let's put it this way. I don't think I'll lose my league because of my quarterback situation. I may not win it, but I'm not going to lose my league because of that. So I feel that Andy Dalton has more weapons this year than he's ever had. I mean, he's got 4 good receivers. He's got a star running back right now. He's got a stud tight end. There are guys who are good here. So I'm in on Andy Dalton as much as I can be for a guy who is a 15th round pick. Make sense? I hope that makes sense. So if I'm waiting, he's a guy I'm looking at. Okay. Talking about Joe Mixon here. So I need you guys to listen to what I'm going to say. And you don't have to agree with me, but I think it's something that's important. We all take our own thoughts and feelings about life in with us when we draft. We take our prejudices, we take our opinions, and I think oftentimes we look at players and say, I like them or I don't like them, not just as players, but personally. I don't like this guy. Joe Mixon is a bad person. Maybe he is. Maybe he's a knucklehead of epic proportions. I get it. But You have to separate yourself from your thoughts on the player as a person and your thoughts of a player as a player. I don't have to like Joe Mixon. I don't have to have a beer with Joe Mixon. I don't have to go out to dinner with Joe Mixon. I don't have to call Joe Mixon for life advice. I probably wouldn't do that. If I want good life advice, I'm not calling Joe Mixon. But if I want a good running back in fantasy football, if I want a player who can help my fantasy team, maybe Joe Mixon's the guy. Right? So I've got to divest myself from thinking, I don't like Joe Mixon, he's such a jerk. Well, he is a jerk. Who cares? Really, who cares? It's your fantasy team. Well, I want to draft players I like. All right. Now look, if you're drafting a team with your son or daughter and they are of middle school age and you don't want to take Joe Mixon because you don't like what he stands for, I can't argue. As a parent, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to disagree with you, but I'm not going to argue with you. But the Bengals believed in him. The Bengals believed in him. Even after he punched a female student in Oklahoma, they took him in the second round. Why? Because this guy's got first-round talent. First-round talent. He can run like you haven't seen before. He can catch like an angel. There's nothing this guy can't do. Probably except pre-calculus. I would doubt he could do pre-calculus. I'm going to put some money on that. But you have to sit there and say, look, I don't care about the person. I care about the player. I'm drafting Joe Mixon this year, and if he's there for me in round 3, I'm taking him. Why am I taking him? Because Jeremy Hill sucks. Jeremy Hill stinks of epic proportions. I was in a league last year with a friend of mine who's like, oh, Jeremy Hill. Like, no, please don't ever take him. No, stop. Stop the madness. Not that good. I mean, really. Seriously, is he that good a player? No, he's regressing. After all these years, 3 years, he's getting worse. He's not a great receiver. Look, this guy is right now, I think he's actually a value this year in drafts, Jeremy Hill, because I'm not taking him before around 12 or 13 at the earliest. And I'll really take him if I have Joe Mixon. If I don't have Mixon, I'll take him late, maybe stash him, maybe Mixon gets hurt, maybe Mixon does something stupid at a supermarket in Cincinnati. I don't know, but I'll be prepared with Jeremy Hill. The guy I am worried about is Gio Bernard, who's still coming off his knee surgery. He tore his ACL about 6 months ago. He's not 100%. He's not close. Wouldn't surprise me if he went on the PUP list and missed the first few weeks of the season. But of course, eligible to return. When he returns, here's the problem. The problem is Joe Mixon is a better receiver than Gio Bernard. And I know that's hard to believe. But Joe Mixon, go YouTube him. It's pretty impressive. So I think Gio Bernard takes a real hit here. I've always liked Gio Bernard, but I think that he may need a different address soon. He may need a different address soon because Joe Mixon can do it all. All right. Receiver. A.J. Green. Now, I want you guys to realize how good A.J. Green was last year. In the first 10 weeks, 12 for 180, 2 for 38 sucked, 8 for 77, 10 for 173 and a touchdown. Oh, the 180 had a touchdown too, by the way. 4 for 50, 6 for 88, 8 for 169 and a touchdown, 9 for 121, 7 for 68 and a touchdown, and then it was over with Buffalo. And I had A.J. Green in a league with a friend of mine, and we finished in second place by about 100 points. And I think we could attribute this to A.J. Green. I mean, A.J. Green missed, 3 weeks for us. He was killing it. So, and then one of the games he missed was against Philadelphia. Are you kidding me? Hello, everybody scored against Philadelphia. I really like A.J. Green this year. I do. So let me talk about another player with A.J. Green here, John Ross. John Ross is a rookie out of the University of Washington. And he is so fast. I mean, really fast. A 4.22 fast. So John Ross is so fast that if he's on the field, you have to cover him. Now, the problem was with the Bengals is the Bengals didn't have a second receiver. So A.J. Green would get covered by the cornerback, and then the safety would slide over and double team him. But now with John Ross flying down the field, that safety can't come over to A.J. Green anymore because they have to respect John Ross, who will fly by them at 4.22 speed, thus giving A.J. Green more one-on-one coverage. You put A.J. Green in one-on-one coverage, game over. A.J. Green wins every time. I mean, he's that good. I'm not sure there's any cornerback who can cover him one-on-one. Maybe Josh Norman? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. I think Josh Norman goes and gets about 5 penalties in that game to keep up with A.J. Green. So John Ross's presence helps A.J. Green. But people out there will say, well, look, A.J. Green, I don't think he gets 95 catches. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe he gets 85 catches, but maybe he gets more touchdowns and more yardage because he's more open. So yeah, maybe he loses a few receptions. But it's quality over quantity. Now, I know you say, I want both. Yeah, but I don't think we're going to lose that much quantity. We're talking about A.J. Green here. We're talking about Andy Dalton's number one target. I mean, who's he going to throw to? Brandon LaFell? I don't think so. So John Ross may be the ultimate decoy in fantasy football. I don't think John Ross sees more than 3 targets a game. I really don't. I see 3 big targets a game. I think they'll take 3 shots to him. If he catches 1 or 2 a game, there you go. So he's got about 25 to 30 catches this year. But he might offer more than 30 catches is his presence on the field. Okay, so there's my thoughts on John Ross. There's my thoughts about A.J. Green. I have very little thoughts about Brandon LaFell except the following. There's always some guy in a league. There's always some guy in a league who at the end of the draft, you know, this guy's been working 60-hour weeks, and he's got a wife and like 2 or 3 kids at home, and he never had a lot of time to spend on preparing for fantasy football. He didn't pay for Scout Fantasy. He didn't pay for any site, but he got himself a cheat sheet. It could be 2015's cheat sheet. I'm not sure, but he found himself a cheat sheet. And on this cheat sheet, he goes down the names of wide receivers, and lo and behold, he sees a name he knows. Brandon LaFell. He says to himself, Brandon LaFell, this guy was good. Didn't he play for New England? Wasn't he good then? Yes, he was. He had 950 yards and 7 touchdowns. I'll draft him. And this guy, here's one thing you know. And you're like, hey, dude, good draft. I like that pick. And then you're saying to yourself, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm not drafting Brandon LaFell. I'm going to let Brandon LaFell sit there even in a 20-round draft. And I'm going to take him on the waiver wire on a bye week when I have a problem. But there's always a guy who's taking Brandon LaFell because they remembered how good Brandon LaFell was in 2014. Don't you be that guy. Don't you be that guy. The guy I'd much rather take is Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd is a young player, was a rookie last year, and he had 54 catches for 600 yards. And you know what, though? He created, because when A.J. Green went down, he created a rapport with Andy Dalton. Now, he wasn't great. He wasn't. He had a good game against Buffalo, 6 for 54 and a touchdown. Baltimore, 5 for 62. Philadelphia, 4 for 66. Cleveland, 6 for 49. But he wasn't special. He wasn't. But he was a rookie. Don't forget the rookie wall. Don't forget how hard it is to be a rookie in the NFL. You know, we look at guys like Odell Beckham Jr., we expect everybody to play like that. Not everybody's Mike Trout in baseball, and not everybody's Odell Beckham Jr. in football. Some guys are just Tyler Boyd. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? It's just Tyler Boyd. So, cut him a break. I like him as late round value this year. At tight end, I want to spend some time talking about Tyler Eifert. I have a man crush on Tyler Eifert. I do. The dude's 6'6". He's got a huge catching radius. He's really good in the red zone. He separates. Andy Dalton loves this guy. The problem is he just can't seem to stay healthy ever. So I don't want to dissuade you from drafting Tyler Eifert. I want to encourage you to draft Tyler Eifert, but I want to have the Tyler Eifert draft plan. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take Tyler Eifert, most likely in round 6 through 8, whenever he's available, preferably 7 or 8 if we can get him, but we may have to operate earlier. And then we're going to not wait on our tight end again, not only draft one guy, but we're going to draft a second tight end earlier than we want to, i.e. Austin Hooper, Jesse James, Jared Cook, Charles Clay. I need to have a second guy in case Tyler Eifert is hurt. Well, not in case. When Tyler Eifert gets hurt, I can't have a big fat 0 on my roster. So my Tyler Eifert contingency plan is take Eifert in 6 or 7, come back in like 10, 11, or 12 with another tight end. If you do that, you will have tight end coverage all year. Did you waste a pick on a tight end in round 10 or 11? Maybe, but what do you do if Eifert's out for 7 weeks? You're stuck. But if he plays, great. If not, you have a good backup. Right? You're covered. At kicker is this kid Jake Elliott from Memphis. Right now, he's the guy who they drafted in the 5th round this year. He will get the first chance. When the guy gets drafted in the 5th round, he gets a chance. Randy Bullock stinks, by the way. Stinks. This guy was cut from all over the place, so I'm not a big fan. I think Jake Elliott is certainly somebody that you can look at late. Now, look, I've said this. I like guys who play in dome stadiums on good teams. That's ideal. So here we have a good team, just not a great stadium. I'll still always take the team. The team beats the stadium for me, right? I always want the high-powered offense. More important than anything. A dome team with a high-powered offense is the best-case scenario. Playoff schedule, they're home against Chicago, they're at Minnesota, and home against Detroit. Weeks 14, 16, I'll take those matchups. At Minnesota, I don't like that for Andy Dalton at all, but I really do like the other games. They have a game against Denver in week 11. They have a game against Houston in week 2. But outside of that, I think there's some definitely good matchups here for Andy Dalton. So I do like their schedule a bit this year. You know what else I also like? I like ScoutFantasy.com. I like it very much. That's why I work for them. I want you to go and join Scout Fantasy. Enter the promo code ROTO. That's ROTO. Pay for 1 month. We'll get you 2 more for free. You'll get access to some of the greatest minds in the industry. Adam Ronis, Sean Childs, Dr. Roto, Joe Jefferson, Mark Deming, Matt DeLima, Matt Brandon. Guys who want you to win. Guys who want you to succeed in fantasy football. Okay? Also, I want you to go to playffwc.com. I couldn't be more excited this year about playing in Las Vegas. Playing a suite at the Palms Hotel. How good is that going to be? It is going to be really good. Really good. An amazing time. A unique experience. Unmatched, unrivaled in this industry. I think the Palms are going to bring it this year. I'm really excited. If you can't do it in person, go online, find an online draft, be part of what we're doing with the Fantasy Football World Championships or the online championships, a draft and go, best payouts, best commissioner service, best draft experience. It's as simple as that. All right, right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. We'll have more podcasts coming up. But as for me, I'm just telling you guys to be well, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!